Ever thought about how stories are, well, a kind of power? I'm not just talking about entertainment. I mean stories as the very threads that actually weave our reality. Today, we're diving into the legend of someone who got this on a whole other level and decided he wanted to own every single story there was. This right here, this quote, is the key to the whole thing. It flips the script on what we think power is. See, it's not about what you have, it's about what you do. It's a way of thinking that was literally born out of the need to survive. So, who are we talking about? This is Anansi the Spider. And yeah, don't let his size fool you. His real strength, it's that he's small, that he's overlooked. These aren't weaknesses, not at all. They're his secret weapons. His power isn't loud and flashy, it's a whisper, coming from the place nobody's looking. Okay, so what does Anansi want? What's his deal? Well, he gets this idea in his head, this massive, kind of arrogant idea that he wants to own all the world's stories, the whole shebang. So what does he do? He goes straight to the top, to Nyame, the sky god, and he asks to buy them. Can you imagine? Nyame's probably laughing, right? And he names a price that isn't just hard, it's designed to be completely, utterly impossible. Now, let's really think about this price tag. Nyame isn't asking for, a few gold coins. He's asking for living, breathing symbols of pure power. The python that swallows men whole, the leopard that hunts the hunters, the hornets that sting like fire. He's basically telling the smallest guy around to go capture the biggest, baddest forces of nature, and to do it without an ounce of muscle. It's a test of pure, raw cleverness. So, the big question is, how in the world is he going to pull this off? Well, not with brawn, that's for sure. It's all about the brain. See, Anansi gets something fundamental. The most powerful beings often have the biggest egos, the biggest blind spots, their own overconfidence. That's the crack in the armor he's about to slip right through. First up, the python. Anansi finds him and just starts a conversation, an argument, really. He's like, hey, people are saying you're not as long as you think you are. And the python, totally offended, falls for it. He stretches out next to a long branch to prove his size, and bam, Anansi ties him up tight. The python wasn't beaten by force, he was beaten by his own vanity. Classic. Okay, what about the leopard? Even trickier. Anansi digs a deep pit, and when the leopard inevitably falls in, Anansi shows up, all concerned, and offers to help him out. He's like, I'll just tie this vine around you and pull you up. The leopard, so full of himself he can't even imagine being tricked, totally agrees. And just like that, he's caught. Trapped by his own arrogance. And the hornets? This one's genius. He doesn't try to fight a whole swarm. No way. He uses their own fear against them. He fakes a rainstorm, yelling about how they're all gonna drown, and offers them safety inside this empty gourd he's holding. In a panic, the whole swarm flies right in. Anansi plugs the hole. Done. Their own fear trapped them. So, Anansi does it. He delivers the impossible price and gets the stories. But honestly, that's where the real story starts. Because these aren't just a bunch of clever party tricks. This is a masterclass. It's a blueprint for survival, for a type of power that most people don't even see. Just look at the difference here. You've got brute strength on one side. It's loud, it's obvious, it's predictable. And then you have strategic intelligence. Anansi's way. It's quiet. It's sneaky. It works by understanding your opponent's psychology, their weaknesses. It is literally the weapon you use when you have no other weapons. And this leads us to this really powerful idea, strategic resistance. This isn't about being a brick wall that just takes a beating until it crumbles. No, it's more like being a spider's web. It looks so fragile, right? Almost invisible. But its strength is in its flexibility, its ability to use a bigger creature's own force and momentum to tangle it up completely. And these are the key ingredients right here. It's about being smarter than a system that's trying to crush you. It's about maybe even pretending to go along with things while secretly working against them. And most importantly, it's about taking what everyone else calls a weakness, like being small or quiet or overlooked, and making it your secret weapon. So let's circle back. Why the stories? Why was that the ultimate prize? It's simple and it's profound. Whoever tells the stories controls reality. Anansi didn't just get a library of fairy tales. He won the very power to shape how the world is seen. And that is why stories are everything. They're not just fun. They're proof. Proof that the little guy can win. They're how community holds on to its identity, its memory, its wisdom. It's how you build your own world, even when a more powerful force is trying to write your story for you. And believe me, this spirit, Anansi's spirit, it's a survivor. It traveled across oceans during the horror of the Middle Passage, not in a book that could be destroyed, but in people's minds as a way of seeing the world. And it popped up again in the Americas, in characters like Brer Rabbit. Every single one of those stories was a lesson in how to outsmart a system that was too big to fight head on. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? When the world won't let you have power, wisdom becomes your revolution. It's not a loud, flashy uprising. It's quieter, deeper. It's a revolution fought with stories, where the very act of surviving, of remembering, of creating becomes the biggest act of defiance there is. Okay, so let's bring this into the here and now. How does this ancient way of thinking show up today? Well, these same ideas of strategic resistance are woven all through the fabric of the modern Black experience. Let's take a look. I mean, you see this spirit everywhere once you start looking. Think about hip-hop, right? Taking bits and pieces of old sounds and weaving them into a brand new global force. You see it in scholarship, in rewriting a history that was told from only one side. It's there in the push to build Black-owned businesses and in smart, strategic political movements. It's the art of making something powerful and beautiful from the stuff that others might have just tossed aside. But all these different things, the music, the politics, the businesses, they're not separate. They're all threads, and they all come together to weave one incredibly powerful structure. And that structure is the web. This is the big idea. A single thread? Sure, it can break, but a web distributes pressure across the whole network. It can handle shocks that would shatter something hard and rigid. The lesson here is that power spread out through a community, through connections and intelligence, is so much stronger, so much more resilient than power that's all piled up in one place. And if there's one thing to take away, it's this. Survival isn't just about gritting your teeth and getting by. It's about creativity. Anansi's lesson is that being constrained, being pushed down, can actually force incredible innovation. Think about it. The spirituals, the birth of jazz, the explosion of art in the Harlem Renaissance. All of it is about turning the pressure of oppression into something new, something that builds community. So where does all this leave us? The story of Anansi, it isn't some dusty old myth. It's a living, breathing blueprint for how to move through the world. And that blueprint shows us that every story we tell, every creative act of resistance, every time a community comes together against the odds, that's another threat being added to the web. Freedom isn't something you wait for someone to give you. It's something you build, something you spin into being, one clever move, one story, one thread at a time. Anansi went through all that trouble to win the stories, not just for himself, but so they could be shared by everyone. So that leaves us with one last thing to think about. A question for you. The web you're weaving right now, that's the world you're going to live in. So, who is telling your story?